Imagine trying to move something so massive that no airplane on Earth can carry it. Not by air, not in one piece, not even close. Now imagine that this impossible object isn't a building or a rocket, but a passenger airplane, the largest passenger airplane ever built. Before the Airbus A380 could carry hundreds of people across continents, it first had to survive a journey of its own. A journey across oceans, rivers, highways, and entire countries. And the most shocking part? For most of that journey, it couldn't fly. This is the hidden story of how the world's biggest airplane is actually built. Airbus is not a single factory, it's a continent-wide machine. Unlike most manufacturers that build products under one roof, Airbus builds its aircraft in pieces, huge pieces, spread across Europe. Each country specializes in a specific section, turning the entire continent into one massive production line. Germany builds major fuselage sections. The United Kingdom builds the wings. Spain produces tail components. France handles final assembly. This system works beautifully until scale becomes a problem. And with the A380, scale became the problem. The Airbus A380 is not just large, it is extreme. Its wingspan is wider than a football field. Its fuselage is tall enough to fit 2 full passenger decks. Fully loaded, it weighs more than 500,000 kilograms. When Airbus approved the A380 project, engineers quickly realized something terrifying. There was no way to transport its largest parts using existing aircraft. Cargo planes like the Boeing Dreamlifter or the Airbus Beluga were already giants, but even they had limits. The A380's wings and fuselage sections were simply too big, too tall, too wide. So Airbus faced a question no one had ever had to answer before. How do you transport an airplane that cannot be transported by air? At first, Airbus relied on traditional methods, trucks, ships, slow, careful transport across Europe. But this approach had serious problems. Deliveries took months, assembly schedules slipped, and as global demand for Airbus aircraft increased, delays became unacceptable. Airbus needed speed, precision, reliability. They needed a new idea. That idea came from an unexpected place. In the Arctic Ocean lives a white whale with a massive rounded forehead, the beluga whale. Its shape inspired Airbus engineers to design a cargo aircraft with an oversized bulb-shaped fuselage capable of carrying enormous airplane parts. In the mid-1990s, Airbus introduced the Beluga. This aircraft wasn't designed for passengers. It wasn't designed for comfort. It had one purpose: to move aircraft parts faster than any ship or truck ever could. The Beluga was a flying warehouse. Its nose could open upward like a giant lid. Inside, the cargo bay was tall, wide, and unobstructed. Entire fuselage sections and wing pairs could slide in with precision. What once took weeks now took hours. For most Airbus aircraft, the Beluga became the backbone of production. A wing built in the UK could be in France the same day. Assembly lines stayed moving, deliveries stayed on schedule. For a while, it looked like the logistics problem was solved. Then came the A380. Even the Beluga wasn't enough. The A380's fuselage sections were taller than the Beluga's cargo bay. Its wings were too wide to fit. Airbus explored radical solutions, designing an even larger Beluga, upgrading engines, reshaping the fuselage, but the costs were staggering. Billions of euros for a transporter that would only serve one aircraft model. And there was another problem. The A380 itself was a niche aircraft. Not every airline could operate it. Not every airport could handle it. Demand was limited. So Airbus made a bold decision. Instead of forcing the A380 to fit the Beluga, they would redesign Europe's transportation network around the airplane. And that decision changed everything. Special roll-on, roll-off ships were commissioned, vessels designed to carry massive cargo on wheeled platforms. These ships could load aircraft sections directly without cranes, reducing risk and damage. From Northern Europe, huge A380 components were rolled onto ships and sent across rough seas towards France. The North Sea is unpredictable, with towering waves and violent storms. A single impact or shift could destroy components worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Crews monitored cargo around the clock. Chains were checked every few hours. Cameras never stopped watching. From the French coast, the journey continued inland, into rivers never meant for cargo this large. Custom barges carried fuselage sections upstream, carefully timed with guides. Bridges built centuries earlier became modern obstacles. Clearances were measured in inches. Timing windows lasted minutes. Miss the window, and the entire operation stopped for half a day. Then came the roads. Once the parts reached land, they were loaded onto massive transport trucks with dozens of wheels and engines producing more power than supercars. Entire highways were shut down. Towns paused. Traffic disappeared. These convoys only moved at night. Streetlights were removed. Signs were temporarily dismantled. Corners were taken with millimeter precision. A single mistake could destroy priceless components or historic buildings. Finally, after weeks of travel, the parts arrived in southern France. At the final assembly line, something incredible happened. What took months to transport took only hours to assemble. Thousands of rivets, precision alignment, systems integrated like clockwork. Slowly, the world's largest passenger airplane came to life, all because of a logistics system that had to be invented from scratch. And this was just one aircraft. The story of the A380 is not just about size, it's about ambition, about engineers refusing to accept limits, about turning oceans and rivers and highways into a single production line. But this massive effort came with consequences. The A380 was breathtaking, but expensive, complex, limited. And the question remains, was building the world's largest passenger airplane worth it? In the next part, we'll explore how the A380 performed in the real world and why its future didn't turn out the way many expected. Because sometimes, even when engineering succeeds, reality has other plans.